Oh, no, I'm not smiling. It's not pro, is it? Regular viewers might remember in June last year when we went to the launch of the all-new full suspension Specialized Chisel. At that point, I ordered one on the day, and it's here now, and I've built it up. And now, after like 2.5 years of regular YouTubing and being refused the right to do my own in-depth bike check, I'm finally doing one. This, as I say, is a full suspension Chisel, so it's specialised aluminium full suspension cross-country bike. Say cross-country, kind of down-country as well, so it's 110 millimetres of rear-wheel travel, but it's flex stay as opposed to proper suspension, so there's no bearings here. It's all done on flex, which is why you've got like a funny little brake mount. So the flex is all on that weld, so it can all snap and do stuff like that, which is nice. That travel comes from a RockShox Deluxe. In this case, it's not the most fandangled shock in the world, but it kind of works fine. It's 40mm stroke, which equates to 110mm of travel. I'm running it with 210 psi in it and 3 clicks of rebound, and then all of the spacers, basically. The fork that I've paired it with, I've gone a little bit kind of different to the standard build on the fork. The bike's meant to take 120. This is 110mm travel, to kind of match the rear, but also to lower the front end a little bit. And it's a RockShox SID SL, so this still uses little 32mm stanchions. This is also really light. Half of what I wanted to do with this bike is make it light-ish, and then also ride the same as my Epic, which is basically the carbon version of this. This has got a longer head tube, hence the shorter fork to get the position right. The fork's running 110 psi with 4 clicks of rebound, so it all feels fairly all right. They've both got lockouts. Interestingly, the fork, the latest race day 2 damper, I find it's quite over damped, so we have half the weight of the oil in the fork just to lessen the damping, so it rides quite nicely and it matches the feel of the rear, so that's cool. That was a lot of torque on suspension. I'll move on to the wheels. These are some that I custom built. They're on Industry 9 Hydra hubs. So they're really high engagement. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of massive engagement, but it's cool, makes a cool noise. There we go. And I've laced them to, these are actually light bicycle rims, so they're proper Far East Chinese rims. So not really towing the industry line, but they're very cheap and they're very light, and they have got 5-year warranty, to be fair. So they're not all that bad. It makes quite a light wheel set, and they're laced with DT Swiss Revolution spokes, which are their lightest spokes. I'm sounding like a bit of a weight weenie, I promise I'm not. The tyres on these wheels, right now I'm running the Maxxis Severe. I really like these for kind of winter-ish conditions, so they're like the XC mud tyre. Amazingly, for what is supposed to be a mud tyre, they roll pretty well on dry stuff, so actually, as an all-rounder, they're not all that bad, but if you let all the air out of them, run them quite low, they are really grippy. Right now, no inserts, but I will potentially put one in the rear for sort of certain rides. So this is an XX1 crank, but then I've paired that with the newer power meter that's from the XXSL crank. Reason I've got the older crank is because it's a narrower Q factor, and I'm quite narrow, so it just pedals a little bit nicer. On that power meter, it's the thread fit chainring, and that's a 38 tooth at the minute. I had to get a little bit creative with spacing because the chainring, the clearance on the frame for the chainring is actually really not all that much. So standard crank, you probably only fit like a 34. I like the big ring, so I moved the whole chain set that way to get the extra clearance, and then to mitigate that, I've put a short spindle pedal on the drive side to bring the effective Q factor back in. So actually you're stood in the middle, even though the whole thing's across. It's really interesting.
Oh yes, this is what we live for. Tarmac.
It's an XX1 chain, it's a rainbow one, and then it's a rainbow cassette as well, which is a 10 to 52 tooth. To be honest, it was out of the scrap bin, but it actually looks all right. the Mexa GX Eagle. I couldn't really cope with having GX on my bike because I'm too much of a snob. So I got this really cool upgrade, which is a £20 piece of plastic that says XX1 on it. So actually now I look like I've got money, which is brilliant. That's drivetrain. I guess the brakes, they are Hope XCR brakes. They're really super light levers basically. So they're not the most powerful brakes in the world, but they're totally fine. But I have put a 2-piston brake on the rear and a 4-piston on the front. They amazingly feel pretty much identical, but yeah, you just get bigger surface area of pad contacting the disc on the front, so it'll deal with heat a little bit better, that kind of thing. On that, it's 160mm rear rotor, 180 front. Annoyingly, that meant I had to run a mount underneath the caliper on the fork to space it over to fit the 180. Don't really like mounts, but this caliper doesn't fit on this fork without a mount because it mashes into the fork leg. So there we are. They're standard stamped Hope rotors. And again, right now I've got sintered pads in it because in wetter, grittier conditions they just last a little bit better. I suppose now, just finishing kit. Nice luxury of this bike. Right now I'm running a carbon rigid seat post. This is a Roval, but I have got a wireless dropper post that I can just bung in. So like when we go riding in a minute, I'm going to stick that in. For local stuff where I don't really need that, it's better to have the sort of the lighter setup with this. On top of that is a fabric ALM full carbon saddle. It's like my favourite saddle basically, and it's just really comfy. It's like a hammock. Stem is an FSA SLK drop stem they call it because it drops the bars really low. It's 90mm length and it's 20 degrees of drop, but then also the extra drop in the shape of it. So nice and low, climbs really well. And then a Ritchie bar World Championship Series. These are like my favourite bar because they're only 5-degree back sweep, which is quite comfy on my wrists. And you can also run them with 5mm of drop to again get the front end really low, which is good, and then the grips are Ritchie as well to match. And I guess just little things are the little Garmin mount that sits as a stem spacer, so the Garmin sits there nicely so I can read like the power numbers, heart rate numbers, and it beeps at me, that kind of thing. And then bottle cage, it's a Topeak Shuttle Cage X, I think they call it. It's the carbon one, nice and light, but it also holds the bottle really tight. I've never had a bottle fall out of this. And I suppose that is all of it. Perfect. Now I'm going to go and ride it. Oh. Let me put my glasses on. Looks more pro, doesn't it? Whoop. Okay.
Hold it there. Oh,